Tonight on The Two Show, James plays with some puppies, Hannah finds a ghost, John watches some movies, and Shane makes a costume. All tonight on The Two Show.
Hello and welcome to a very special and very spooky Halloween 2 show.
Yes, we've got all sorts of Halloween-themed fun for you tonight. And to start out, we've got some fancy dress tips that can help you get to the party on time, have you looking good, and most importantly, won't cost an arm and a leg. It can be difficult to find the time to find a Halloween costume with the distractions of modern life. Even renting a costume can be a pain, with most costumers experiencing stock shortages and queuing at this busy time of year, and even the early birds might be disappointed in the end. So, why not make your own Halloween costume? It's quick, it's cheaper, it cuts out the hassle, and it can look great. With us tonight in the studio is Shane, who's going to show us how to make a costume from scratch, I believe. Welcome to the Two Show, Shane.
Thanks, John. It's great to be here.
So, right. First off, what materials are we using to make it?
For tonight's costume, John, we're going to be using an old black hoodie or jacket or whatever you've got lying around the house, as long as it's black.
Right.
And hooded.
Okay.
An umbrella, it's black too.
Right.
Because it's needed for this costume. A thread, needle, some safety pins, a pair of scissors, and a pair of pliers.
A pair of pliers, right.
Yeah.
Pliers, that'll be interesting. So, what does this all cost? What would that all come to?
Around about a tenner, I'd say.
A tenner,
yeah,
for people who wouldn't have it around the
yeah.
house. How much time, I suppose, would it take to make it all together?
Well, if all goes to plan today, it's going to take me about half an hour.
Half an hour?
Yeah.
Fair enough. And what about someone who wouldn't have a clue on how to make it?
It might take a bit longer, but...
A bit longer?
Yeah.
The instructions on the website?
The instructions are on the website, John.
Fair enough. And what's the final costume? What's the end result?
I'm going to be making you a bat costume, John.
A bat costume?
Yes, John. Bat
right.
costume.
That'll be interesting to see, I'm sure. Well, we'll rejoin Shane later on in the show to see how he's getting on. Over to you, Hannah.
Thank you, John. For most people, Halloween means fun and games, but late October can bring some problems for some members of the public. Pet owners. In Northern Ireland, Halloween generally means fireworks, and for pet owners across the province, this means dealing with distressed pets. Our reporter James has looked into the problem to see how you can keep your pet safe this Halloween.
Fireworks date back to the 7th century and were created in China to scare away evil spirits with their loud noise.
However, not a lot of people realise that the noise produced by fireworks can actually startle and kill animals. I decided to ask people in the public what they knew about this issue.
Well, actually not an awful lot, to be honest. Like, I do have a dog in the house, but I haven't really, taken any precautions with it or anything, like, and defend it from the likes of fireworks or bangers.
Well, I care for my pet, but I don't do anything special at Halloween.
Sadly, I don't do very much. I know it distresses my dogs, but there's not much I can really do. Just have to put up with it, I guess.
What we learned from the interviews was that pets are at a greater risk at Halloween due to fireworks. The majority of people don't take countermeasures to protect their pet, and a lot of people don't know how to protect their pet.
My concerns grew, so I decided that I would ask the experts to see what they thought in the matter.
My name is Eve and I'm one of the vets from the Cedar Grove Veterinary Clinic. I'm just going to give you a few tips for how to keep your pets safe during fireworks season. One of the main things is sort of to keep your pets indoors during the fireworks season. Once the banging starts, try to make sure that cats and dogs are indoors. If you can try and keep the curtains pulled, that will help keep some of the sound out, and also maybe having a TV or radio running sort of at a low sort of volume in the background, again just helps to sort of get rid of some of the louder bangs. Other things you can do as well for your dog is maybe create a nice sort of safe den that they can run to and hide if they do have to get scared. So just again maybe having their own bed in a quiet corner with a duvet or something over the top of it to muffle out some of the sound. And one of the other things that we'd recommend for all pets is to make sure that they're microchipped. This means that if sort of disaster strikes and they do happen to get out and run away, there's a much greater chance of them being found, as if they do turn up anywhere they will be scanned and that should quickly get them back to you.
But don't worry, not every pet owner is uninformed about pet safety at Halloween. We did run into this man who told us how he looks after his dog at this time of the year.
Boys, we would give her either rescue remedy or sometimes we would give her get sort of medication like a sedative from the vet, because she gets very agitated with the noise of the fireworks.
At the end of the day, those safety tips will protect your pet. It's Halloween, so fireworks are going to go off and startle your animal no matter what, but if you keep your pet in a noise-reduced environment, you can limit the damage. I'm James from The 2 Show.
If you would like more information on how to keep your pet safe this Halloween, you can do this by contacting the USPCA. Now it's time to find out how John and Shane are getting on with their Halloween costume.
Thank you, Hannah. So, Shane, how far along are we now? What's been done and what's still to be done?
Well, thank God it's going to plan. We're about halfway through. We've
Good,
got
right.
the majority of the ribs off, so we'll soon just have the umbrella material,
Good.
which will be used for the wings. So as soon as we get rid of the ribs, then it's just plain sailing from there. It's just using a pair of scissors and a needle and thread, really.
All right. And for our viewers at home, are there any sort of alternatives that they could have to this sort of costume in this style?
Well, if you wanted to use another umbrella, why not use a red one and go as the devil? Just
Yes.
pair it up with red clothes.
Absolutely. Just for the sort of the clueless among us, how would the whole costume come together? How would you stitch it all up, if you know what I mean?
Right, well, once we've got just the material left, we're going to cut it down the middle,
Right.
and then keep one half for the ears and one half for the wings, and we'll also have some of the ribs left over,
Yes.
and we'll use that to frame the ears, so the ears will stay up,
Okay.
and it's just a case of then just using a thread and needle to sew it on to the costume.
Impressive. So thank you very much, Shane. We'll get back to see you finish that later in the show. Now, chances are whenever someone mentions Halloween, it brings up images of ghouls and ghosts. And so, in the spirit of the season, the 2 Show decided to look for something that no one has ever found. Proof of the afterlife. Hannah joined our intrepid reporter Damon Dark at the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast in search of the Grey Lady, who is rumoured to stalk its wards and corridors in the dead of night.
So here we are at the Royal Victoria Hospital, looking for the mysterious Grey Lady who's supposed to roam the corridors.
Throughout the years, there has frequently been mention of a ghost referred to as the Grey Lady, who is said to walk the corridors of this building. Most often seen in the top corridor, it is rumoured that she is the ghost of a former matron. Many of the staff say that they will refuse to enter this section alone. Pitching our base camp in one of the private rooms, we proceeded to enter the ward. In order to scientifically capture evidence of a ghost, traps had to be set. A camera was set up in 3 locations during the night in order to capture any mysterious occurrences. A floor trap was laid in case the ghost made contact with the floor, and in an auxiliary ward, an empty bottle was left upright, as ghosts have a tendency to move small objects. And this is base camp.
What a mess.
We've got lights, tripods,
We got buns.
we have buns.
Plenty of water.
We got Connor's MacBook set up, looking through the traps, see what we got. At about midnight, we went to check on the tape from trap 1. This trap had been left running while we had gone out for food. Approximately 6 minutes after we left, these curtains in the bottom right corner began to move. After examining the remainder of the tape and finding a few abnormal sounds, we decided to go for a more direct approach. We sent Hannah and her cameraman in to try and make contact. Ghosts have been known to answer questions in electrical voice phenomenons, or EVPs for short. Unfortunately, in the main room, there appeared no response. Undaunted, they ventured into one of the smaller auxiliary wards where the main encounter of the night happened.
Did you feel the temperature drop? It's really cold. I don't like it. Or do I have to, can we go, please? Please.
The
2 Show. 2 Show.
Welcome back. Before the break, our brave team of reporters, including Hannah, visited the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast in an attempt to prove the existence of ghosts. When we left them, the team were experiencing some very strange happenings on the ward. Let's go back and see how they got on.
Where did I get in here? Can we please, come on, please. Right.
Hannah was there, she got very scared, then she walked away. And I kept filming for a few minutes. And I heard that knock.
It was very cold for that split second. It was very cold, and it was just really uncomfortable. Like,
The thing did mention that there's sightings did get preceded by a very sudden drop in temperature.
it was like it wasn't our place to be there type feeling.
Yes.
Looking back through Archer's footage, we didn't find anything unusual until we spotted this shape back in the editing suite. Here it is again, brightened up and slowed down. Observe the faint mass jumping across the screen. We couldn't find anything that could have caused this shape. It wasn't a shadow and it wasn't a reflection. There were no windows and only one light in the room, attached to the camera. As our time at the hospital drew to a close, all we were left with was circumstantial evidence. Nothing that could prove or disprove that there was something in there with us. After all this, I still don't know if I believe in ghosts. There could have been something there, or it could have all have been our imagination. But even still, every time I look into the dark, I get the feeling that something is looking back at me.
So, you made it back in one piece?
Just about. There was no conclusive proof that ghosts exist in that place, but I will never do that again.
I'm glad I didn't have to do it in the first place. Well, joining us in the studio now is our paranormal expert, Damon Dark. Welcome, Damon.
Hello, John.
So, first up, Damon, can you tell us the history of the site and the Grey Lady?
Well, the Royal Victoria Hospital, this section that we're in, has been open for more than 70 years. And ever since it's opened, there's been weird, mysterious happenings. There are sightings of the Grey Lady. I think being a place of life and death, it could be anything really, but the most famous rumour is that it's a ghost of a former matron.
Oh, dear. That sounds pretty grim. Was there any equipment that you used to try and catch a ghost?
To catch a sighting, we had 3 cameras, different parts of the ward, basically decent views so we could see what's happening in each of the rooms, and they were all set up for like an hour overnight. We had a floor trap, slightly less technical, on the ground, just in case the ghost made any contact with the floor, and we had a bottle which we left open in just one of the rooms, as ghosts have a tendency to move small objects.
Fair enough. No proton packs with Dr. Spengler then, no?
Nope, afraid not.
What a pity. Did anyone have any real experiences with the spirits?
Me?
Right, tell us about that. What happened there?
Well, I left before anything happened, but my cameraman was still in there filming after I left. Came out quite fast afterwards, and it was only when we looked at the footage again that there was a knock on the wall beside him.
Oh.
No windows, there's nobody else there, so that was pretty scary.
Good God. Was there any sort of other sort of visual or
As Hannah left the room on the footage, something passed in front of the camera.
Right.
It's not a shadow, it's not a lens flare, nothing. We can't figure out what it is. I've sent it to my colleagues and I sent it to my camera people. No clue.
So, is it haunted then?
I think there's something there. It may not definitively be what we like literal term of a dead person, but it could be something.
Well, okay. Fair enough. Thanks for that, Damon, and thank you very much for your expertise and
Thank you.
your own bravery, Hannah. Hope that didn't scare you too much at home.
Every year, a slew of horror movies designed to terrify the general public are released in the run-up to Halloween. Some are pretty scary and some are tame.
But down the years, a few scary movies have gone above and beyond, chills and spills, and have left a generation of moviegoers absolutely terrified.
John has crawled through rivers of blood, battled evil demons, and dodged the living dead to bring you a rundown of the scariest movies ever made.
Hello, it's time for John's Top 5, where I look at my 5 favourite films of our theme for the day. So, considering it's Halloween, let's look at my 5 favourite horror films. At number 5, it's Don't Look Now, a subtle and chilling film, and almost more of a thriller, but that's what makes it stand out from the rest of these horror films that rely on body counts and gore.
John, do you hear what I say? It was Christine.
Causing a media sensation at the time of its release more for its sexual content. The constant references and parodies to it in pop culture ever since have shown that it has lasted much longer in the minds of the audiences as a horror classic. At number 4, it's The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's horror masterpiece. A visceral and unforgettable experience with a terrifying lead performance from Jack Nicholson. A horror classic that should be seen by everyone, unless, of course, you live in a haunted hotel. Stephen King has disassociated himself from the picture, mostly because he feels it doesn't respect his original work. However, I disagree. The Shining is a classic in the horror genre. At number 3, it's Nosferatu, the oldest film on our list. A classic of German expressionism. All horror films owe something to it, but it still holds up as a fantastic film today. Essentially just an adaptation of Dracula with all the names changed, and the ensuing legal battle bankrupted the studio that produced it. But it's still a far superior effort to any official adaptation of Dracula. At number 2, it's Jaws, one of the first summer blockbusters, one of the most successful films of all time, and one of Steven Spielberg's best films. It spawned countless imitations and plenty of terrible sequels, but none of them have matched the skill, craft, and just sheer entertainment on display here. Arguably the most family-friendly film on our list, the effect it had on audiences managed to nearly ruin the seaside industry that summer and many hits.
Hurry up, he's coming straight for us. Don't screw it up now. Don't wait for me. Now! Shoot!
At number 1, it's Psycho, coming from Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense. Just like Jaws, it spawned many imitators and also some terrible sequels, but it's never been equalled. Spawned the whole slasher genre as well, so it's worth going back to see where it all began. It manages to be a masterpiece of storytelling despite not having a real coherent plot, which just shows what a master of film Hitchcock was.
Taxidermy. Crow here, an owl there. Now, an important scene took place in this room. There was a private supper.
So those were my picks for the top 5 horror films of all time. Join me next time for another list of great films, but until then, sweet dreams.
The perfect scary movies to watch this Halloween. Now it's back over to Shane and John to see how they're getting on with their last minute budget Halloween costume.
Thank you very much, Hannah. I think that's Shane. Are you finished now?
That's it, done. That stays
okay.
in, yeah.
Shall I try it on and show the viewers home?
Why not?
Alright, okay. There we go.
What do you think?
Oh well, I think it's very good. It's really good. Yeah.
Especially for being an umbrella.
Yeah,
when you think
from
about
an
it.
umbrella and a hoodie, that's a fantastic costume, and all that for just a tenner. Yeah,
Yeah, a tenner.
Just sort of household items. Absolutely, brilliant. As you can see yourself, the evidence. It's a fantastic idea if you need a costume for Halloween at the last minute.
Looking good, John.
Oh well, thank you very much. But I'm just the model. It's Shane. That's the talent.
Well done, Shane.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for tonight's 2 show. A big thanks to our guests, Shane and Damon. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow evening with a look into why a new designer drug called Spank is threatening to wipe out traffic wardens all over the globe.
Well, from all of us here, have a happy Halloween and good night.
Good night.